Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to episode number 33 of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. It is so great to have you here, and I am Tim Sohn, and this show was created as a safe space where cancer survivors and cancer supporters come together to share their stories and connect, as well as find resources that provide healing, hope, and resilience. As I said, I am Tim Sohn, a 15-year cancer survivor, host of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer, and a live streaming producer and coach for impact-focused nonprofits, businesses, and entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us. Please let us know where you are tuning in from and what is your connection to cancer. You might notice that things are a little different around here. That is because I am not in the middle of nowhere in Chehalis, Pennsylvania. I am in the middle of nowhere, North Conway, New Hampshire. So that is where I am tuning in from. Where are you tuning in from? Let me know in the comments. I cannot speak tonight. I so appreciate you being here. We want this to be a conversation with you. Also, we encourage you to connect with each other in the chat. But before I bring on our guest tonight, I need to introduce you to somebody else first. Tonight, I will be joined by Mark Kageyama as guest co-host. Mark Kageyama is a stage 4 cancer patient with prostate, bone, and lung cancer. He has a YouTube channel called To Be Your Own Hero, where he shares his own cancer journey and tries to inspire people to appreciate their health, their beautiful lives, and to not sleepwalk through life. Personally, he feels so blessed to be able to open his eyes in the morning to experience a wonderful new day. In addition, Katie Gasperi and future guest on Showing Up, and he run a clubhouse room on Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time called Cancer Conquering Community. Mark has also been a previous guest on Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. So I'm going to bring Mark on the show right now, and let's welcome Mark to the show. Hey, Mark.
Hello, Tim. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, and I'm so excited to be here and be on this side. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, welcome. It's so great to have you as guest co-host. And Mark, tonight, who are we having join us as a guest?
Tonight, we're having a conversation with your sister, Eileen Sohn, and her perspectives on cancer. But before we get into Eileen, for those who haven't wished Tim a happy birthday, his birthday was, I believe, yesterday. Let's wish Tim a very happy birthday. Happy birthday, Tim.
Thank you, Mark. I greatly appreciate that. And that was very sneaky of you. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. And shall we bring Eileen on the screen?
Absolutely. Let's bring your sister on.
Hello, Eileen Sohn.
Hello,
Eileen
Sohn. Hello, Mark.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Good.
And I'm so excited to be here.
Meet you here.
Likewise.
Welcome to the show, sister.
Thank you.
So we're going to see who is showing up tonight. We're going to go over to the comments and see who's here. Shannon Epps is here. She says, "Good evening, everyone." And Don Tomoff is here. He says he's here from Cleveland, Ohio. Eileen, have you ever been to Cleveland, Ohio?
I've never actually been to Ohio at all.
No. Mark, have you been to Ohio?
No, I haven't.
Oh. Jeremy is here from Kenya.
Wow, that's a long
Welcome,
way.
Jeremy. And Joy Sohn, my wife, is listening from poolside. Hello, wifey.
Hi, Joy.
And Brian O'Sullivan is here from New Jersey. Welcome, Brian. He just recently started joining in on the show, so welcome to you. Susanna Webb is here. She is a recent victim, guest of the show. So thank you for being here, Susanna. We appreciate you. Tom Tressler is here from Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you, Tom, for being here. Peter Clark is here. He says, cheers from Canada. Thank you, Peter. Melody is here from Massachusetts. Thank you for being here, Melody. Nikita is here from Alabama. Have you guys been to Alabama?
No.
No. Auntie Anne is watching from Lake Carmel.
Hi, Auntie Anne.
Hello, Auntie Anne. We have family
Hello,
watching. Yes. Bill Bradford is here watching from an undisclosed location. I wonder where it could be. Mark Engstar is watching from New Zealand. Thank you for being here, Mark, all the way from New Zealand. Terry Tomoff is here from Crofton, Maryland. Bill Tomoff is here. Multiple Tomoffs are here. Thank you for joining us all. Dawn McCall is here from Riverside, New Jersey. Thank you for joining us. Lagia is here from all the way from Costa Rica. Thank you for joining us, Lagia. Inger is here. So many of you are here. Eileen, you are popular. And Mark, both of you. You are so popular.
I don't think it has anything to do with me. I hate to break that to you.
I think it must be you guys. Diane Jackson is here from Canada. Thank you all for being here tonight. You guys are amazing, all of you. But we are here tonight to hear about Eileen's connection and perspectives on cancer, right? Right, Mark Kageyama?
Yes, and I'm so excited, and I'm so honored to be here and to share the space with both Tim and Eileen. It's been great getting to know both of you and seeing the dynamic between the two of you. So this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, this should definitely be interesting because cancer isn't really something that Eileen and I discuss really ever since the diagnosis, right?
No, we talk about it at all.
Yeah, ever. So should we dive into the conversation? What do you think?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. So I was diagnosed with leukemia at age 2008 and 2006. So as my sister, what was your reaction to my being diagnosed with cancer then?
I think it was a little bit of a shock, mainly being because you were not sick. You had no symptoms. And I don't think you ever expect that somebody's going to come around and tell you your brother has cancer, especially when you were in your 20s. But I think because we had experienced so much cancer in the family previous to it, it didn't really come as a shock. I mean, it was a shock, but it was something that we had been exposed to when we grew up. So it didn't seem as unusual as it would to somebody who had never heard of it.
Right.
So that being said, Eileen, what are your memories from the first few days that Tim was in the hospital and diagnosed? How did that affect you, and what were your thoughts?
Well, I think it was a little shocking, but mostly I just remember being in the hospital and all the nurses and all the doctors and all the paperwork and they came in with, we want to treat with this and we want to treat with that. And I think that not knowing what it was they were doing, there's not a lot of explanation when you go into the hospital. it was sort of an emergency situation for him because his blood cell levels were so high, that they just needed to figure out what the immediate, not cure, but they had to figure out immediately what they were going to do. And I think it's a little overwhelming when you walk into the hospital and you don't know what they're talking about. So, I remember being there. I remember asking the nurse for a medical dictionary. And I remember the papers. There were a lot of papers. Papers were being passed around, and he had to agree and he had to sign. And I asked a lot of questions. I think I was a little bit shocked. Oh, I'm sorry. You can hear my dog, can't you? I apologize. So I think that was it. That was kind of it. It was just a little bit shocking because they just come at you. There's no, you don't know, and then you have to make an immediate decision because this is like, it's a life or death situation. So that's what I remember mostly.
So were you scared at that point, or you were just waiting for news?
I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. I think I was waiting more for explanations. There's so many different forms of cancer, and I think at that point in time they didn't actually use the word. They didn't use the word leukemia. They didn't use the word cancer in those first few days. They really just said, there's an imbalance in the blood, and we have to regulate it. Which is, so it wasn't, it wasn't scary. It was just more, okay, well, what's going on, and what do we do next?
Yeah. I do remember Eileen being really, really supportive and there a lot in the hospital and asking lots of questions of the doctors and wanting to put me on some sort of clinical trial that nobody had been put on before. And Eileen was, asked for the medical dictionary like she had said, and she was just really supportive. So I wanted to say that and how much I appreciated that. Yeah. So Eileen, between all the, like you were saying, we've had a lot of cancer in our family and our extended family. And so has that influenced your own healthcare decisions at all in terms of getting any kinds of screenings or any other kind of tests or anything like that?
No. But I do think it has changed how I live. I'm sort of a live by the seat of your pants kind of a person. I think I have a much greater perspective on how short life is in a way that a lot of people don't understand. And so I don't think anything of taking chances and taking opportunities when they present themselves, because I have a good understanding of I'm here today and we don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. So, I go for regular screenings. Women need to go for regular screenings. I don't like the doctor. I avoid the doctor like the plague. I know there's certain things as a woman that I need to do, especially now that I'm in my 40s. But I try not to think about it. I just try to understand and recognize that today is all we have. And I'm an opportunist. I am not afraid of jumping ship at any point. I'm not afraid of moving. I'm not afraid of traveling. I'm not afraid of just getting in the car and going. And I will say, I think that's because we had a lot of loss when we were growing up. And I'm not going to waste my time. I have this one life, and I'm going to do whatever I want.
Mark, could I just ask, as from your perspective as a cancer patient, as a cancer survivor, do you have a similar viewpoint from what you've gone through? Do you have a similar viewpoint as what Eileen said?
Yes, absolutely. I relish and treasure each and every day. Life. Somebody just Susanna. Hey, Susanna. Like she says, I love your perspective. Life is so short, and that is exactly what I live by. I mean, it's so important to me to get the absolute most out of every single day and utilize, what God has given us, as far as, what we have with our abilities, and I try to make the most out of um, every single minute, really, because, at one point in time, I didn't know whether or not I was going to be here. And if I could go back to something that was kind of funny, over the weekend, and I was sharing this with Tim, and Tim saw a post. I made a post about a situation that occurred to me over the weekend, and I was at church on Saturday, and towards the end of the service, the police came into the church, and we're all wondering what in the world is going on. And so what they did was they had us evacuate towards the back of the church. And so we went into the parking lot. They finished the service, and I looked up, and there were police everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And so we just said, hey, they told us that there's a suspected bomb in front of the church. So we just got out of there. So I was talking to my mom over a couple days ago, and I said, as hard as I've worked to fight cancer and beat cancer, and all this time that goes through, there is no way that somebody is going to blow me up and end my life that way. Not a chance. So anyway, that's the moral of the story, and we just laughed about it. So I am so thankful to be here in one piece. So thank you, everyone.
Yes, we are thankful that you are here, and especially in one piece, for sure. Yes.
Yes, definitely. And Eileen, so I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So do you ever worry that you're going to get cancer one day?
No. I mean, we have a genetic form of cancer that runs in the family called the Lynch syndrome. And I was not tested for it because if insurance doesn't cover for it, it's about a $2,000 test. It's very expensive. But I eat healthy. I do the best I can to maintain, a basic level of health. But I don't worry. I don't worry about getting sick because I kind of go by the universal. I'm here today. The universe is going to give me what I need. And if I'm meant to get it, I get it. And if I'm meant to face it, I face it. But I don't worry about it. I don't want to spend my days worrying about whether I'm going to get sick or not. Because, again, I know that life is short. And I think that worrying about things like that doesn't make it any better, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So Eileen, do you think the diagnosis changed our relationship at all as brother and sister?
No, not at all. I think we're still the same. We're still just Tim and Eileen. I don't think it's
agree. No.
Do you?
No, I don't think so. I think as we got older, we got along better together.
Yeah, but I think that just
but I don't think
that just has to do with maturity and being smarter.
Smarter
you stopped beating me
sillier.
Up a long time ago, so I was grateful for that. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So Mark, what's the next question?
Tim, I have a question for you.
For me?
Yes.
I thought this show was about Eileen. What happened?
It's about both of you. It's a brother thing. So we're gonna get it's all in the family. So that's what we're doing is we're treating you both as one. So Tim, when you got diagnosed, what went through your mind as far as your immediate family goes?
I mean, everybody was so supportive in terms of my family and, Eileen and my mom and my dad and my extended family and everybody who's direct messaging me right now during the show. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, they are. But anyway, yeah, and Eileen says hi to those people as well. But seriously, I mean, I'm so grateful to have a family who's so loving and caring and supportive. And um, yeah, I mean, is that where you were going in terms of just kind of yeah.
Well, what I was thinking in terms of this, for me, and I'll share my perspective with my family. When I got diagnosed, my immediate thoughts went to my family, my two daughters, and my wife, and my mom and my sister and my brothers. But what the thought that came to my mind was I wanted to live and be around for them. And that was the driving force in my um, journey. That was the immediate thing that really propelled me. And it wasn't a matter of um, do I think I'm going to be around? It was a matter of I will be around because of my love for them and their love for me. And so that's what I was wondering as far as what your thoughts were as far as your immediate family.
Yeah. Wow. And you said that so powerfully, Mark. I could feel how strong you felt that when you just said that. Like, so thank you for sharing that. For me, I was at a point in my life where I had just met Joy a few months before, my now wife. And we didn't have children yet, obviously. I mean, we could have had children, but we didn't have children yet. And so I I mean, obviously, I guess I'm not really sure what to say. I mean, yes, I wanted to be here so that, because obviously my family is important to me. Yes. But I didn't have a wife yet. I didn't have, kids yet, in terms of that aspect. So I guess that's what I would say about that, if that makes sense.
But okay, so let's reframe the question.
Yes.
Was there a driving force in your will to move forward from your diagnosis?
Like something specific in terms of why I wanted to.
I mean,
when you were first diagnosed, was there anything that you changed to make you want to get married or have children? Was there a different perspective of thought that went through your mind right after you were diagnosed? Because when you first met Joy, you hadn't been diagnosed with cancer yet. So was there a thought? Was there a fear? Was there anything that made you say, I want to do this differently. I want to change this. I want to make this happen?
Not that early on, no. Not for me. A lot of changes that have happened in my mind have happened more recently when I became cancer-free in December of 2021. And my story is kind of like over my 15 years of my cancer journey, or more than 15 years now, I've taken oral chemo medication and I've never really been sick, like really sick from the leukemia or the chemo medication. So I have felt good for the most part. So maybe that's part of the reason part of my perspective, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Mark, at all?
Yeah, it makes sense. I think what I see is this is, your parts of your life hadn't matured yet when you got your cancer diagnosis. And so you hadn't formed, you hadn't thought in terms of family because you weren't even married yet. And so, as you say, once you were cancer free, then you had a different perspective looking back, as far as, the journey that you went through and how you want to move forward.
And Joy is correcting me that we met after my diagnosis. So that also happened.
Time ago. You don't remember these things sometimes.
Exactly. Thank you, dear. Yes. Yeah.
You want to go for the next question, Tim?
Sure. I'm just looking to see where we are. Here we go. So Eileen, in your opinion, what needs to be done in the area of cancer moving forward? What needs to change?
I don't really know. I mean, probably because I don't have cancer, so I don't know how it feels, but I will say I think there needs to be a greater focus on maybe on I know, Mark, you and I have been talking about, the way you eat and making sure that if you're going through cancer, there's so much focus on getting rid of it, taking pills or chemotherapy or radiation. But I think there's a severe lack in diet and replenishing the vitamins that you lose. There doesn't seem to be much focus on that. So I think that that's a good thing to recognize, is that everything that you're taking to kill the disease is a lot. It's a lot of poisonous chemicals, and I think there needs to be a little bit more focus on how do you replenish what you're losing when they're trying to get rid of the bad stuff in your body. You're getting rid of the good stuff also. I think there's a lack of that.
I completely agree. And I am huge on diet, because in my opinion, that's what saved my life. And I did a combination when I got cancer. I did a combination, and I tell people that it was probably 50 conventional and alternative. I was in the hospital a little over a year ago with a botched lung biopsy. And I was talking to nutritionists at that time, and I had been a vegan for 10 years, and I was really weak. I was down to 123 pounds, and they told me, my nutritionist told me basically that unless you change your diet, you're not going to be around. And when you're posed with that kind of question, you get focused really fast, and you realize that, hey, you got to move, and you got to move now. So at that time, I completely changed my diet. And, I don't have enough time to go into it here, but, I added grass-fed beef and wild salmon and organic turkey, organic chicken, along with fruits and vegetables and smoothies and lemon water and everything like that. Totally changed it around. And today I'm up at over 160 pounds, and I have a lot of confidence I am going to be around. So I believe that they were absolutely right on, my nutritionist, when they told me that that, hey, unless I changed, I was not going to be on this earth. So I'm so thankful to the volume of people that have helped me get to where I am today. And, a lot of the people here that are in this live stream, I know a lot of you, and I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate you, Tim, and you, Eileen. And I'm just so thankful for just the community, the cancer community, which has got some of the greatest, most wonderful people on this earth. It's just, I can't say enough, and I'm so thankful for that. So I don't know if I answered your question in this long roundabout way, but that was my answer, Eileen.
It's good. I think it's perfect. I'm going to try to make it a little more lighter in here. I'm going to get up for just a second. Sorry, the lighting in here is horrible.
That's okay. Well, we're thankful for you, Mark. And while Eileen's adjusting the comments, while Eileen's adjusting the lighting, I'm going to go to the comments. Suzanne is agreeing with you, Mark, about nutrition. And Melody is saying that it's also a time to feed your mind and spirit as well, which I 100% agree with that as well. And I'm sure you do too, Mark. You're nodding your head.
I love Melody. Melody is awesome. In fact, Melody is one of our moderators on Cancer Conquering Community on Thursdays.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yes, Melody is awesome.
That's great. And Bill is saying support systems are so important, Mark. Melody is also saying gratitude is nutrition for your mind, body, and soul. Ellen is saying support is the most important treatment.
Thank you, Ellen.
And Nancy Barrows is in the house. She is saying, hi, fam.
Hello, Nancy. How you doing? Thanks for warming up this seat here next to Tim. So I appreciate that.
There you go. There you go. Okay. So, Mark, do you want to take the next question?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Eileen, so your family's dealt with cancer before. And when Tim got cancer, what emotions went through your mind as far as his longevity?
It wasn't, I think, there was a sense of fear just knowing because, he was so young. But we had dealt with so much tragedy when we were growing up. A lot of people in our family had cancer. And a lot of people got sick, but a lot of people got better. A lot of family members of ours have had all different kinds of cancers, and they bounced back, and they bounced back, and they bounced back multiple times. And I also, I think that my mom has a pretty good perspective on things. And she always sort of had a way of saying things that made it seem like this is just one more thing. It's not so bad. It's not something you have to worry about. We don't know yet. We don't know the diagnosis. People have had cancer multiple times, and people have made it through multiple times. So it was never a question of how long was he going to live. It was just a matter of what is it and what are we going to do to tackle it? And that's really it. I don't think I even recognize that there is a longevity or not, because at the end of the day, like you were saying today, you were at church and there was you got good and scared at church. Anything can happen. You can be in a car accident tomorrow. So if you spend every day worrying about what is this one thing going to do to me, it's just, I think it's silly, because something else could happen tomorrow that has nothing to do with this. So why are you going to waste your time worrying about how long is this going to last? When is this going to, we all are gonna, we're all gonna expire one day, all of us. None of us know when, and none of us know how, and so it's not something you need to worry about, because you could live to be 60, you could live to be 100, you could live to be 12, and you have no control over that. You're here, in the universe is gonna give you what you need, and they're gonna take you when the time comes, and that's it. So I don't think I ever really worried about that. It's not a thing you should worry about.
I completely agree, and I love your use of the word expire. Whenever I think of expiration dates, I think of that that thing in the refrigerator you look at and like, oh, that one has to go.
Oh my goodness.
So I love that. Go ahead,
Yes.
Tim. You got the next one.
Yes, thank you, Mark. So, Eileen, how can doctors better relate to cancer patients?
I have no idea, but
No idea.
I think that people need to do a better job of relating to other people, because in your journey, it's not just doctors or nurses. You have to interact with people every day on a daily basis, and so I just think that people as a general rule should be kinder to one another, and instead of jumping to conclusions, ask more questions, learn more. I don't think it has anything to do with doctors. I just think it has to do with how people as a general rule relate to other people.
Yeah.
But I think you bring up a great point, is, our society has gone away from treating people like people, and they're treating people like numbers.
Right.
And, especially when it comes to cancer patients need, and I'm taking this from Ashok, need a lot of empathy and compassion and love. And these are emotions that we as cancer patients really crave and really need. And so, yeah, it's so so important to bring in that human factor in the treatment of patients. That is what is so important to me, is seeing the humanity brought back to the medical field. Shout out to Ashok.
Yes, I did put that there. Shout out to Ashok.
Yes.
And I'm expecting tomorrow we'll have an Etch-a-Sketch post from him about something about this show tomorrow. And Mark actually has a question, or not Mark, Tom Tressler has a question. He said, Mark and Tim, have either of you incorporated exercise and or time in nature into your lives? Mark, I'll let you go first.
Absolutely. Every single day. I've prior to getting cancer, I was a workout fiend. I was in great shape, working out 4 to 5 times a week, and my legs were like literally like solid like rocks. And I thought I ate well as a vegan, but I didn't eat well as far as cancer was concerned. But I take walks almost every single day, and I love it. And my outlook when I walk is totally different now. Before, I'd just walk and just think about nothing. But now I make it a point to look around at every single walk that I have, and to look at the sky, and to look at the trees, and to look at nature, and take it all in. And I also work out with weights again, and I was so weak. I went from curling, I was able to curl up to 40 pounds at one time. I went down to 1 pound weights that I was curling. And so now I'm back up to, I'm curling 10, 12 pounds now, which compared to what 1 pound is a drastic difference. But no, thanks for the question. I take it all in, and I do it every day, and I do it religiously, and it's a very important part of getting better. So what are your thoughts on that, Tim?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for your question. For me, I need to get better at this again. I'm slowly incorporating it more. I was really good at this. I did used to walk 3 miles a day in this town of Milford, Pennsylvania. Eileen is familiar with it. And I was really good at it, especially at the beginning of COVID. I would go early in the morning and walk every morning. But slowly during COVID, the habit got less and less, and but I'm going to start getting better at that again. I love nature. I love going on walks along the Delaware River in Milford, Pennsylvania. Um, and I'm going to start doing it more. And shout out to Riley again.
I'm
By the
so
way,
sorry.
Riley, I love
The only
Riley.
room where she doesn't come in. She's a very loud dog.
We're keeping it real here tonight. We like to
Yes.
do that. Yes. So yeah, that's kind of my status of nature and exercise. Need to be doing more. Love nature. And yeah. Ellen says, Tim, I always loved your nature posts. Yeah, I love doing nature posts and the actual nature, being in nature part. So yeah.
And Ellen says mindfulness.
Yes. Mindfulness Mark. She's got the alliteration going on.
So Eileen, I have a question for you. What are your thoughts on your brother Tim winning Man of the Year for the Lymphoma Society? And what are your thoughts about all the work and efforts that he puts in for the cancer community?
So he did a tremendous job raising the money that he did. And the thing that was so impressive is that he had people from all over the world help him. It wasn't just, one guy in one community. He had people involved from Alaska, England, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Canada. Um, uh, I think I was really impressed by everybody that just jumped in to help. It was, I think, much more stressful than he let on. Running a 24-hour marathon and then again another 12-hour marathon is something that I couldn't even do an hour. Like I don't know how, but he managed to get all of these people involved. And I think the most wonderful thing about it was he just had this giant community of people. All you had to do was ask, and all these people jumped in. So I think that really, that was amazing. It was amazing just to see how everybody came together to try to make the most out of, it was long. It was a long journey. It was a lot of weeks, a lot of preparation, a lot of, and just getting people together to just, community was just, it was incredible. And I, definitely something to be very proud of. There was a dinner at the end, and to see all of the people that worked towards one goal was really amazing.
We are so proud of you, Tim. Congratulations. That is just a monumental honor, and I'm so happy to call you the Lymphoma Society Man of the Year. That is so well deserved. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Eileen. And you know that I'm the king of deflection. So, yeah, but so many people did come together as part of that. There were so many people, like you were saying, from so many places around the world. And I'm just so grateful. I'm going to deflect and thank all those people. And why don't I have puffs here? Now I need the puffs. Me too, Eileen, because now I need puffs. Yeah, it was just such a beautiful coming together of so many people for such an important cause. Yeah, it just puffs. Where are the freaking puffs?
Amazing they
Yes.
haven't sponsored you yet. I don't know why.
I know, and people are putting all these nice comments on the screen, but I'm not putting them up because I'm the king of deflection. Fine, I'll put them up.
Perhaps you could use Charmin 2-ply. That works also.
Shout out to Charmin. If Jason Freeman was here, he'd be putting paging Charmin, paging puffs. Yes. Melody, thank you for your kind comment. Bob says, the village supports Tim. Thank you, Bob. You are awesome. Melody says, wait, no, this other one. It's because Tim is loved and it was a noble cause. I love y'all too, Melody. You all are just so supportive. And so many of the people that came together, I would have never known if it wasn't for the pandemic. So many of the people that were on my team and that were the live streaming team were people that I taught in a course that I created after the pandemic on how to create your own live streaming show. So if that terrible tragedy, the pandemic, hadn't happened, there were so many good things that happened also. So many people connected from all over the world. And this is one of the beautiful things that happened as a result of that. So yes, thanks for your kind words, sister and Mark. I appreciate it.
You can't deflect the whole time.
I could try.
But in this instance, that's not successful.
No, that is true. That is true. Thank you for all of your comments. I'm trying to. O'Brien says, love walking the Delaware riverbank too. Brian, you're somewhere in the tri-state area, aren't you? Like New Jersey or Pennsylvania, or I can't remember where you are. Remind me where you are. Bob Feather says 12 minutes left to deflect. Oh my goodness. And Ellen says, don't squeeze the Charmin. And Bob Feathers says, I'm not crying, you're crying. Yes, exactly. All right. Well, Mark, do you have any other thoughts or questions?
Yeah, there was a question that somebody that Tom asked.
Yeah.
And he says, sorry to ignore you again, Eileen, but for Mark and Tim, you two have faced about as big of a challenge as a person can. Have you embraced challenges now, or do you find yourself shying away from them? You want to go first?
I'm still reading the question. You could go first.
Okay. As far as the challenges, I've taken an approach of going right at them from the word go. I mean, that's been my approach. You know, when I got diagnosed with cancer, my oncologist said, you know, your cancer is so bad, I can't cure you. And I just said, okay. But that triggered in my mind what I wanted to do. And it basically was kind of like the starting gun at a race. And the gun went off and I was just starting to run from the word go. And, you know, I've embraced reaching out to people and going after things. And that's just been my my whole MO this whole time, is just go after it and make it happen, and do things that are necessary. And it's an everyday thing. Cancer is, you don't take vacations from it. It's an everyday um, thing that you address, that you take care of. And a good portion of my day is around some form of cancer, as far as uh, research, as far as reading about it, connecting with people, my diet, exercise. My whole life, revolves around me getting better on a daily basis. And but that doesn't mean, uh, absolutely, Bob, I chose to fight, and still fighting, and um, that's been my attitude. I am, from day one, I was never ever going to give up or quit, because that was not an option. And interestingly enough, I read a book called Radical Remissions by Kelly Turner, and that book, that was one of the features of the book, was she said that the absolute will to live is so important, and it's a characteristic that she saw in so many people that did survive. Because you see people, they get their diagnosis, and the oncologist would say something like, oh, you have 3 months to live, you have 6 months to live, and they plan their lives around that time period. You can't do that. I mean, the doctors, they've gone through a lot of schooling, and they've had a lot of experience with people, but every person is different, and every person handles news, and every person handles cancer in their own way. And you're going to have people that fight, you're going to have people that give up. So many people I see, they use that diagnosis pretty much as an excuse. Hey, I only have 6 months to live, so I'm going to get my affairs in order, and I'm going to do as much as I can in this period of time. And I just took a one day at a time approach. Every single day is so important and so critical to life. And if you maximize every single day, you're going to get a lot out of your life. And so at this point in my life, I know at some point I'm going to go, but now I could, I know I have the foresight and the ability to say, hey, when I do go, I gave it everything I had. So that's my my philosophy on life.
I love that, Mark. I love
Thank
all of
you.
that. And in terms of my perspective is, I mean, mine is similar in terms of, if, challenges were to come my way, I would want to focus them, I would want to tackle them head on. Um, I've been blessed that I haven't had many challenges over the 15 years, but I would want to tackle them head on. And as you are, you're so focused on helping the cancer community as well. And, I plan to keep on doing that as well. And yeah, but this is not supposed to be the Tim and Mark show. This is supposed to be the Eileen show. Yeah, but somehow that seems to be happening. Yes. Speaking of deflecting here, but I think Ellen has another question here. Do you see Ellen's question, Mark? If I'm gonna find her question.
Yes, it says, Tim and Mark, have you ever participated in a study?
I have not participated in a study. Have you, Mark?
No, I haven't.
Eileen, have you participated in a study?
I have not participated in a study. However, there is a study for our family that's for the Lynch syndrome. there's a study that's going on at Sloan Kettering. It's because it's genetic. Now, what Tim has is not.
It's not related.
But there is a study that's being done at Sloan Kettering on our family for the Lynch syndrome gene.
Do you want to tell people what the Lynch syndrome is?
So I don't know too much about it, but I do know that it's a genetic form of cancer. It causes colon cancer, I think also breast cancer, uterine cancer. And it's important to get tested for it, because if it is something that you have in your family, in our family in particular, it has affected a lot of the men. It's important to go and get colonoscopies at a younger age. Also for the women, it's important to go and get mammograms and get your, yearly PAPs, because it's something that can be found. And, if not, if there's not a cure, but for each process, it can be treated. It can be treated at an early stage. So it's just important to know that there are so many different kinds of cancer, but that one in particular, preventative measures are very important. So it does exist, and you can Google a lot of information, but our family in particular, there is a study on our family for the Lynch syndrome.
We have a question for you,
Oh, yeah?
Yes. Tom says, Eileen, this is for you.
Oh.
Not having walked in someone else's shoes can make it difficult to obviously accomplish this with Tim and others in your family. How were you able to do this as well as you have?
So, I guess I can't emphasize enough how much sort of tragedy we had growing up. And it's not fair to say that you become numb to situations, but we really grew up with it. Really not a joke. We went to a lot of funerals when we were younger, a lot. And a lot of people passed away from cancer. A lot of people passed away from multiple things. But when you grow up in a situation where people are dying a lot, and I mean a lot, you almost become desensitized to it. So it's not to say that I don't have empathy for people who have experienced this. It's something that we grew up with in a tremendous way. It's something that we don't talk about. And it's something that most people should not know, should not grow up. This is not a childhood. You lose that portion of it, but you learn to live with it, and you learn to understand that, if this is the life that you're given, you have two choices. You can be miserable about it, or you can learn to accept it. You can learn to understand it, and you can learn better ways to live with it. But it's unfortunate. That's just the way we grew up. We went to a lot of funerals. A lot of people died. We don't talk about it. We just, it doesn't ever get easier. You just learn how to live with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, on that note.
Sorry. I know how much you love those statements.
Thanks for being on the show, and thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
Anything else you want to say, Mark?
Yes. Can I share about our guest next week?
You absolutely can share about our guest next week.
Okay. Our guest next week is Mary Wells, and Mary's best known as the encouragement expert and is an 8-year breast cancer survivor who shares God's word of encouragement worldwide for people to thrive through any circumstance. She is an author, a keynote speaker, coach, apparel owner, and best role of mom to son Caleb. And so, Mary Wells, next week, let's all be there. Let's not miss it. It'll be great.
It will definitely be great. Yes. So thank you, Mark Kageyama, for guest co-hosting this week. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, sister, for showing up and being an incredible guest.
You're welcome.
And thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of Showing Up Perspectives on Cancer. We are going to go out the same way that we came in. And if you feel like it, maybe you'll just want to do a little dancing while we play this little video. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.